Hello and welcome to your Broken Galaxy. I am Broken, and today I am going to do the 15th fight in my 128 character Star Wars versus tournament, and this fight is the one that has the second of my 8 mystery fighters. Today's going to be Grand Admiral Thrawn versus Jira. And I'm pretty sure that like 99% of you don't know who this person is if you just hear the name. However, this is a canon and an EU character. Jira is the old woman from Tatooine that told Anakin a storm was coming. That's pretty much it. Thrawn, between Timothy Zahn's books and the Rebels TV shows and now the Ahsoka TV show, need no introduction. So here we go. 25 years after Episode 1, Grand Admiral Thrawn finds himself on Tatooine after having a meeting with Jabba the Hutt, which went incredibly well for him, as most things do. As he is walking down the streets, he sees a woman that is like 100 years old, and Thrawn is curious. He goes up to the human who is selling her wares on the streets and says, "My dear woman, I'm curious. Have you always lived on this planet?" And she says, "Oh yes, born and raised here. I am a child of the sands." "Fascinating," he says, "to see someone as venerable as yourself on such a world as this. I am astonished at your resiliency." "Are you calling me old, blue boy?" she asks. "I did not mean to insult, madame. I only—" No, you're calling me old. Well, I'm not going to stand for it. I'm sorry. I'll take my leave now. "Hey, Fancy Pants," she says, "I've got a joke for you." "A joke?" Thrawn asks, amused. "What's black and red and blue all over?" Thrawn thinks about the joke for a solid minute, intrigued by the cunning of the woman. I must confess I don't know," he responds. She promptly punches him right in the face with a surprising amount of force. "You with a black eye," she says, then bursts out laughing. Thrawn is incensed by this and says, "I'm sorry, but I cannot let this stand. Prepare to defend yourself." He starts to say, but is cut off as 2 handfuls of sand are flung into his face. "Ah ha ha!" He grunts in pain before taking a deep breath. He can't see, but he listens for the sound of her footsteps. He can hear her a few feet away. He starts stepping slowly so that the sound of his own footsteps don't obscure the sound she's making, dragging her feet, her dress, and her cane. Her footsteps stop, and Thrawn jumps to the place he had thought she had been, kicking and punching while trying to always guard at least one side of his head. "That's some fancy fighting," she said from a few feet away, then threw back a black melon, hitting him in the crotch. "How did you escape?" he asks. "Escape? I just been standing here. What you heard was a mirage." "A mirage? What? No. Mirages are tricks on the eyes, not on the ears." Suddenly, he's hit in the crotch with a second black melon. "You're not very good at fighting," Jira says, laughing. Thrawn, who has had enough, grabs a blaster from his belt, pulls it out, and starts firing in the direction of Jira. The old lady, slow and helpless as she is, gets hit by the first shot, knocking her back. The remainder of Thrawn's shots were fired in an expanding field in order to account for her attempts to escape, but none of the others hit her. After he had spent 20 bolts, he wiped the tears from his eyes, along with quite a lot of sand, and was able to see Jira sitting there. "How did I miss you?" he asked. "You didn't. You shot me in the chest. However, I'm a 100-year-old homeless woman. Everything I own I carry on my person. That includes this frying pan that I had under my dress," she says, taking out the frying pan. Thrawn sees the scorch marks of the blaster bolt on it. He walks over, still only able to see through teary eyes, and says, "Your fortune has run up." She promptly smacks him in the side of the head with the frying pan, and Thrawn falls to the ground, dropping his blaster. Dazed, he says, "I will not allow you to defeat me." "Defeat you?" Jira says. "Wouldn't dream of it." She then threw the frying pan, hitting him in the nose and breaking it. She laughs. Thrawn stands up, black eye, bloody nose, cracked skull, and a broken ego. He stomps towards the lady and grabs her around the throat. "Somebody's mad," she says. Jira grabs his hand and places the ridge of her other hand on the Golgi tendon complex just above his elbow. She forces it up and around, bending Thrawn over and breaking his grip. She knees him in the stomach, grabs the back of his jacket, and pulls him into a standing rear naked choke. "Storms are coming," she whispers into his ear. Thrawn looks back at the last few minutes and calculates his mistakes, as the lack of blood to his brain causes him to fall asleep. Some hours later, Thrawn wakes up in a cyborg augmentation shop, and the owner says, "We got you all fixed up. Lucky that old lady found you." "What?" Thrawn says. "What did you do to me?" "Oh, you were missing a kidney, and an old lady brought you in here." "She stole my kidney," Thrawn thinks to himself. With a broken spirit, he says, "I am undone. I have been bested by this sand hag in every conceivable way. I have met my match and been found wanting." And the shop owner's like, "Yeah, that's nice and all, but you owe me like 100,000 credits for saving your life, bro." And there you have it. The aged hag of the sands, Jira, has defeated the most skilled tactical mind in the history of the Star Wars galaxy, Grand Admiral Thrawn. If you would like a say on who wins these fights, you can join my Patreon. Lowest level is just $1 a month. It'd be a way that you could say thank you, but you also get a vote on these videos, and it turns out that every single one of my videos 100% voted for Jira to win. Granted, I only have 2 patrons, and that only means that 2 people voted for that, but I give the people what they want. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and all that garbage.